Hi folks, today we will be working on solving radical equations. Now, this is no different than stuff you've done in the past. As long as you keep in mind that anything that is underneath of a radical sign, such as this here, if we think about that as being in parentheses. Alright, so that is in parentheses. So we need to get rid of everything before we can break underneath or into those parentheses. So the first thing we want to focus on is just getting rid of that third root. Now the best way to get rid of that third root is its opposite, which would be third power. So we're going to do third power to both sides. So third root and third power on the left side there, they're just going to get rid of each other. It'll be 2x plus 7 equals, on the right side, 3 to the third, that's 27. Now we can go ahead and solve for x in our normal fashion. We can subtract 7. So 2x would equal 20. And divide by 2. So x is going to be 10. There we go. Next one, same type of thing. It's a square root, so the opposite of square root would be to square. We got to get rid of that radical sign so that we can work on the stuff underneath. We do that by squaring, so now we have x plus 25 is equal to 16. Now we can finish getting x alone by subtracting off 25. So x will be negative 9. And there it is. So the next one, notice that the minus 9 is not under the square root. So we want to get that over to the other side before we work on that radical and that x. So we're going to start by adding 9 to the other side. So we have the third root of x equals 8. Now we can lift off that radical by taking the third power. Third power, third root, they get rid of each other, so we're just left with x. Equals 8 to the third, that is going to be 512. Alright, the fourth one, we want to get underneath that radical, but before we can, we have to get rid of that 2. We're still working backwards through the order of operations. So go ahead and divide both sides by 2 first. So now we have the third root of x minus 3 equals 2. Now we can take third power. So we'd have x minus 3 equals 8. Now we finish off getting x alone, add 3, and we're done. X equals 11. So there it is. Here we're still doing the same thing, but it looks a little bit different. Instead of having the radical sign, now we have rational exponents. But the process really doesn't change. Think about it in the same fashion. We're working backwards through the order of operations. So our first step here would be to divide by 3. So we have x to the 3 halves equals 125. Now this is where it gets a little bit different. When you have a rational exponent like this 3 halves here, the best way to get rid of that is to take the reciprocal exponent to both sides. So to both sides, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the reciprocal, 2/3 power to both sides. So if we take a look here now, 3 halves times 2/3, they're just going to get rid of each other and leave an x. And on this right side, 125 to the 2/3 power, if we think about what that actually means, that means the third root of 125 to the second. So now we're basically right back to the beginning of this chapter where we are working with these rational exponents. So it doesn't matter which one you do first. I am going to do the third root of 125 first, and that is going to be 5. So now I have 5 to the second, which is 25. So there is that one. So on this next one, we have negative 2/3 x to the 1/5. So work backwards through the order of operations once again. We want to get rid of this negative 2/3 before we go on the exponent. It's multiply, divide before we work on the exponent. So I'm going to divide by negative 2/3. Now, when you divide by a fraction, it's the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So I can also multiply by negative 3/2. So I'll have x to the 1/5 equals negative 2 times negative 3/2 is positive 3. Now, just like before, I'm just going to take the reciprocal exponent, which would be 5/1, or 5, to both sides. So on this left side, right here, 1/5 times 5, those are just going to get rid of each other, so all I have left is x equals, on the right side, 3 to the 5th. That's kind of a big number. That's 243. There's our answer. So now, I'm going to challenge you to go ahead and try the next two on your own. Just remember, work backwards through the order of operations. Try the reciprocal exponents. So on this first one, your answer will be 1. On the other one, x will be 6. So give those a shot and see what you think. Okay, your assignment, page 456, numbers 3 through 31. I wish you the best of luck. We'll see you in class.